Hello, and welcome to the Mortgage Note Podcast. My name is Kimberly Hawes. Today, we are joined by Phil Portman. He is the CEO and founder of Textdrip. How are you doing today, Phil?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here today.
Yeah. So first of all, for our readers that haven't had the opportunity to learn anything about your company yet, tell us a little bit about what Textdrip does and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So TextDrip is a business texting platform. We focus on having the highest deliverability in the entire industry. The benefit to TextDrip is that it automates a lot of the things that you do currently. And we specifically are designed for insurance, real estate, mortgage, and solar sales. So those are the industries that we specifically target. And we help people see much higher engagement levels, higher response rates than they ever seen through email or texting on their mobile phone. We started TextDrip 5 years ago because we saw a lack in the industry around a really good texting platform for these type of agents. Most CRMs and platforms out there were very email centric with kind of texting thrown on as an afterthought. And we said, well, texting is the best response rate, the fastest response rate, and it's the most preferred method of communication. Why would we throw it on there as an afterthought? What would happen if we built this platform with texting as the central component? And that's ultimately what we've done. And we've seen phenomenal growth because customers have responded really well to it as well.
Tell us a little bit about how Textdrip works.
Yeah, absolutely. So TextDrip, you think about TextDrip and the actual name of it comes from what's called a drip campaign. So somebody goes onto your website or fills out a lead form and they request information. Historically, they'd be put on an email drip campaign where it automatically sends them periodic emails following up with them. And that's because 80% of sales require 5 or more follow-ups, but 44% of agents give up after one single interaction. So we know the importance of continuously following up. So an email drip campaign is to continue following up with the customers to make sure they see your brand, see your message, see your offer. So then when the time is right for them, they can follow up with it. Well, texting takes it one step further. Because texting has such a high deliverability rate, such a high response rate, we put them on a TextDrip campaign where they go on, they request information, and now they're receiving a text message periodically requesting information from you. And then once it's ready, they respond to you, pops up in your inbox, and you can respond to them from our beautiful mobile app or from the web interface or one of the desktop apps that we have as well.
Right. Now, prior to this, one of the things that you told me about texting, and I thought this was an interesting fact for anybody who's just interested in texting versus email in general. You mentioned that usually a text message is read within the first 3 minutes of somebody receiving it, as opposed to an email that can go much longer.
Yeah, that's right. 90 seconds is the average response rate from texting. So with texting compared to email is great for nurturing a lead, sending market information, for instance, if you're a real estate agent. So they constantly know your brand. That way, when you have something that you need their instant attention for and you send them that text message, they're like, well, of course I'm going to deal with Bill. I've been seeing the guy's newsletter forever, right? But texting, because it's in your face, it has a very fast open rate, response rate. It needs to be used with that understanding in mind. People don't want to receive nonstop text messages just telling you how the industry is and things like that. They want immediate, relevant information to them when they're receiving the text message, because it is so, you can't ignore it. So intrusive when you compare it to other things.
Right. And so maybe you can provide us of an example of when a text message would be better than an email. For example, the Federal Reserve is meeting this week. Say I'm a mortgage broker or loan officer. We're expecting rates to fluctuate one way or the other. based upon what comes out of that meeting. Would that be a good time to go ahead and do a text campaign as opposed to like a nurturing email campaign?
Absolutely. So my mortgage agent will send me periodic text messages all the time, and him and I have a great relationship. But he's not overburdening me with text messages. He sends it when it's relevant, and he's sending it specific to me and my needs. Now, in his case, he might be sending it from his mobile phone. But if he were to use TextDrip, he could automate a lot of the features that he's doing currently from his mobile phone. For instance, including my name in there, that's a merge field. He could have the market segmented for somebody like me who had purchased a property during a higher interest rate period. And if the lower interest rates come in, he could get very specific on how much money he's going to actually save on that and have it automatically go out to any leads that are within that segment of saving money. So there's tremendous benefits to automating some of those features, really taking your current productions or methods that you may be doing right now to inform them of changes in the market, or maybe you've determined after a certain period of time that homeowners like to pull a little bit of equity out of there, right? Hey, we noticed you've got X amount of equity in there. Have you thought about putting a new deck on that home? Have you thought about expanding something out? All of that can be done automatically inside TextDrip based on criteria or how you segment your data within there. And that's really where real estate agents, mortgage agents, and things like that get a lot of lift out of that, is by segmenting that data like that.
Hmm. Now, I imagine for busy, mortgage loan officers and brokers and busy real estate agents, they have hundreds of clients and potential clients that they may want to reach with something like this, and have, maybe 100 people that could be on one list, 100 people that could be on a second list. How does TextDrip help these people really bring that kind of text marketing to scale?
Yeah, great question. And years ago, I used to flip houses, and I was a real estate agent myself. And I remember seeing people in the office just kind of overwhelmed, and they got into real estate or even mortgage so that they could control their schedule. They could have work-life balance. They could be there for their kids. But when you looked at them, a lot of what they were doing had been, just taken over, and they couldn't get away from their phones. And the benefit to the stuff that we have now is you can create segments, tags, all sorts of automation features inside there that make it really easy. Instead of you having to go through and find people and remember people and message them, you could have them all grouped based on interests, segments, age, category, whatever, locations, whatever you want inside TextDrip. So then when the time is right for them, you can send out a message, an individualized message to every single one of them. Taking it one step further, you then don't have to sit there and wait for the responses. We can create an automation flow based on the intent of somebody. So for instance, if somebody responds back with, no, I don't think now is the right time for this, but once the holiday is over, I might be looking at something in the new year. That sounds like a no, but it's actually a, hey, we're interested for the future. Well, we have intent automation inside TextDrip that will understand the context of that and know that, yes, they are still interested, and we can continue with them on the flow and quickly send a follow-up at the beginning of the year to then re-engage with that lead at an appropriate time. So that's where people are using a lot of those automation flows instead of constantly fixed to their phone, having to communicate with people, constantly using another calendar app or something to then follow up with. They can house all of that automation inside one tool and have the tool work for them. And what you'll find is you're working far less hours taking notes and corresponding and trying to remember things. And instead, you're spending more time closing deals. And that's what the increase in productivity that we're seeing from people is astronomical when they're doing it from a individual phone basis.
Tell us about that increase in productivity and what it means. What have some of your clients said after using TextDrip for a while as far as their productivity is concerned?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's statistics that it's somewhere between 300% and 400%. So take yourself and then duplicate yourself 3 or 4 times, and that's what you're able to do with the automation and artificial intelligence that we have built into TextDrip. You're still behind the scenes doing everything, and I want to be clear on that. I've seen examples of what I would call lazy automation, especially with AI nowadays, where they don't have the hands on the control and they want AI to do everything. I don't think that's a great way to do it. And the reason why is there is a reason why your customers chose you, why they buy you, why they go with you. You have a different voice than other mortgage or real estate agents around you. There's something different about you. And we want to make sure to help provide you the automation tools, but in that process, make sure that your voice is not lost in that the thing that separates you from the competitors out there is still in there. Because if we're just going to use OpenAI or one of the large language models to automate the entire process, well, now it's a generic message that every other agent is using, and there's nothing that's going to separate you in the void. And we especially don't want that if it's a customer or client that you've been dealing with for years, which is what often is happening. We still want to have the automation things in there, but we never want to lose the voice. And we want to make sure that it's the equivalent of you sitting there typing out a message to them directly every single time.
How do you accomplish that? Because I have heard so many times, especially within the last year, that the people that are successful are the ones that are the most authentic. So how does a person keep their authenticity, but also still use this artificial intelligence that's available to them now?
Yeah, and I love this question because it comes up time and time again. I'm a big advocate of technology. I mean, obviously, our platform automates it. We have AI built into it, but not at the expense of your human individuality and your brand. It needs to be a tool, not a replacement for you. So our platform does have the ability to do a lot of automation and very well could just about take over for you if you allowed it to. When you come on board with us, we do a free demo. You can schedule as many demos with our demo specialists as you want, and they'll help you set up your campaign, set up your TextDrip account, do the whole process with you. One of the things that they will help you craft is your messaging. What does it sound like? What are those? What are the constant replies that you're sending to people all the time, right? So when somebody says, asks you a question, you have the kind of the consistent rebuttal to it. Well, rather than typing those things out all the time, let's plug those in. But it's still your voice, right? We're not asking an AI model to generate that. We still want your voice in there. And that's the key difference. Use the automation tools, help it craft your message. Sometimes use it for ideas, but don't have it tell the entire story. You still need to be managing that process throughout. And so a lot of what we're doing inside there is helping you craft that message. And I would say if you really want to set yourself out, sometimes have run-on sentences inside there, right? Don't always use the best punctuation. If your customers are used to seeing that, don't change that. And that's really what I want to see. I've been seeing messages lately from professionals that I've been dealing with for years. And I can tell they're AI. They all got the M dashes in there that nobody really uses except AI and my wife, who's an author. But most other people don't use that many M dashes. And then a lot of the way that it's formatted, it got very formal all of a sudden. I really want to see the human that I've been dealing with for the last 15, 20 years, not this AI script. So when we go through and help you set up those messaging, we're making sure that we're using your language inside the automation tools.
Exactly. I think it's so important that professionals continue to maintain their voice. For example, I know a realtor that will ask her clients, what are you doing for Super Bowl Sunday? Every year. So I want to still get that message. You know what I mean? Like, I would hate for that to go away because that's so much a part of her personality and who she is, like really making sure that everybody has good plans for the Super Bowl. And if not, you can be invited to her house, right?
I love that. Absolutely. Yeah. Stay connected. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to learning much more about TextDrip and your company. But before we, take off for this particular podcast and start planning for another one, maybe you could tell us just what you're planning to do as 2025 wraps up here. We only have about, a couple more weeks here until the end of the year. Tell us about what you're planning to do to wrap up for 2025 and look forward to 2026, Phil.
Absolutely. So quarter four for us is the busiest time of the year for us. And we hit all of our end of the year numbers, and it's all growth for us. So a lot of the development process kind of slows down. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking about, the new ideas, the new things that we want, but we really focus heavily on the marketing and promotion to end the year out. We want to make sure that we're staying front and center of our customers this time of the year as we go into the fourth quarter. So we're going to see a lot of that going in. Along with that, because fourth quarter is so important for our business, like a lot of people's business, I personally and encourage my team to spend time analyzing where they're spending time in this fourth quarter. And a simple thing is to carry a notebook around with you, and every hour, just jot down what you did in that hour. And then at the end of the day, look back at the things that you did throughout the day and really dig into it and say, was that important? Was that something that I could automate? Could I delegate? Or could I just get rid of this thing? And if you look at what you did hour by hour in that context, especially during your busiest times like fourth quarter, you can really start saying, well, if I automated this, if I were able to delegate this, and well, this is just a flat out waste of time, then you really start honing in and finding ways to maximize your time and optimize it. And then you're going to get the absolute best out of your busiest time of the year. And so that's really what we're focusing on right now for fourth quarter.
I don't think that's bad advice for anybody in any industry, right? To take a look at what you're doing and how you're spending your time, how you can improve upon that maybe in the future. So thank you very much for that advice, Phil. And thank you so much for joining us here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. And thank you, all of you, for tuning in to the Mortgage Note podcast. Once again, my name is Kimberly Hawes. Have a great day.